Good morning, fellow YouTubers. BexarPrepper here. Today I'm going to make some beef type stew for dinner tonight. So I thought I'd bring you along and show you what I do. Now, these are oregano, sage, and basil from my garden. All I did was I picked the leaves off, put them in a 9x13 pan, froze them, and then I bagged them in Ziplocs. You pull them out. While they're frozen, just run a knife through them and chop them up. So we have oregano from the garden is right here, sage, and basil. And I'm just going to scrape that in my pot. In your pot, you're going to want to put 8 cups of water. I've got most of the water in. We'll add the last cup. Now, you don't want to use any salt when you're cooking with dehydrated foods, because the salt will stop the dehydrating or the rehydrating process. So you want to do all your salting after it's completely cooked. So we're going to make a beef. So I'm going to open up a jar of beef. I'm going to try to open up a jar of beef. And I'm just going to toss that in. I want to put some beans in them. So I'm going to do 2 handfuls of beans. Kids don't like beans too much, but I love the flavor of it. I'm going to add some corn. And you don't want to do a lot. Remember, this is dehydrated, so it's going to expand. We've got some onions. I don't like to use this on my dehydrated jars, even though sometimes the lids can be hard to get off. And this one happens to be real hard because it, as you saw when I opened the jar of beef, you can bend them. I think, whoa, that's coconut. It's definitely not onions. This is what happens when you don't label your jars. They look an awful lot alike, don't they? That's coconut, that's onions. I usually keep the coconut on the back of the shelf, and I just wasn't thinking when I pulled it out. Alright, some peas. Crock pot meals are great for dehydrated peas because they rehydrate really well. We've got some sweet peppers here. And when I put these in, I'm going to break them apart just a little bit. Got a little bit of celery. And I'm not using a lot because remember, it's dehydrated. It goes a lot further than you think. These are my red and green peppers. Mushrooms. Love my mushrooms. Carrots. Carrots are good for you. Beef bouillon. And I am going to put 4 teaspoons in here. I like to add some tomato powder to my beef meals. So I'm going to add 2 heaping teaspoons of the tomato powder. Let's do 3, because it is 8 cups of water. We're going to add some paprika, about 1/2 teaspoon, some chives, and about 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary. And I'm not going to add that directly in. I'm going to take it and crumble it with my finger first. To break it up a little bit. Really release those flavors. And I'm going to cook this for about 5.5 hours. After that 5.5 hours are done, I'm going to add my noodles. And more water if I need to. And then cook it for another 30 minutes. And we will have dinner. Looks wonderful already. Let's take you in for a look.